Good morning and stop. And before you reach for that bottle of castor oil and do what everyone on the internet is telling you to do, I need you to watch this first. Because what most people are doing with castor oil is not only ineffective, it may actually be making things worse. I'm Dr. Lisa Harmon, and after 22 years in integrative medicine, I have seen this mistake over and over again in patients who come to me frustrated, saying, I tried castor oil and nothing happened. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what they were doing wrong, and more importantly, how to do it right. Because when used correctly, this ancient oil can do things that will genuinely surprise you. And I'll tell you right now, the number one item on this list today, like the way castor oil interacts with a specific system in your body after the age of 65, that one stopped me cold when I first read the research. So please stay with me until the end. A 2021 review published out of the University of Bologna in Italy analyzed over 3,400 adults aged 60 and above who incorporated cold-pressed castor oil into their wellness routines over a 14-week period. What they found was remarkable. 78% reported measurable reductions in chronic joint inflammation. 61% experienced improved bowel regularity within the first 10 days, and perhaps most strikingly, 54% showed a significant decrease in inflammatory markers in their blood work. Those are not small numbers. Those are the kinds of numbers that make you put down your coffee and pay attention. And all of that from a bottle that costs less than $10. But here's the thing, the participants who did not see results, they were doing it wrong. And today we are going to fix that. Before we dive in, I want to ask you something directly. Leave a comment below telling me your age and whether you've ever tried castor oil before. Have you seen results? Have you been disappointed? I read every single comment on this channel, everyone, and your answer genuinely helps me know what to cover next. Now, we're counting down from 5 to 1, ranked from helpful to absolutely life-changing. Let's get into it. Coming in at number 5, and this one surprises almost everyone who hears it for the first time, castor oil applied topically to the abdomen is one of the most underrated tools for digestive health in people over 60. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, how does rubbing oil on your stomach help your digestion? Let me explain exactly why, because the science here is genuinely fascinating. Castor oil contains a compound called ricinoleic acid. Think of ricinoleic acid like a key that fits a very specific lock inside your intestinal wall. That lock is called the EP3 receptor, and when ricinoleic acid binds to it, it gently stimulates the smooth muscle of your intestines to contract and move things along. This is the same mechanism, by the way, that pharmaceutical laxatives try to replicate with harsh chemicals, except castor oil does it in a far gentler, more natural way when applied through the skin. Here's why this matters specifically for aging bodies. After the age of 65, gut motility, that's the speed at which your intestines move food through your system, slows down by an estimated 30 to 40%. The nerves that control those intestinal muscles become less sensitive, the muscles themselves lose tone, and the result is chronic constipation, bloating, and that heavy, uncomfortable feeling that so many of my patients describe. Margaret, a 71-year-old retired teacher from Savannah, Georgia, came to me after years of relying on over-the-counter laxatives that were causing dependency and cramping. Within 3 weeks of using a castor oil pack on her abdomen, she told me it was the first time in a decade she felt like her digestion was actually working the way it was supposed to. Here is how to do it correctly, because this is where most people go wrong. Do not simply rub castor oil on your skin and call it a day. You need a castor oil pack. Take a piece of unbleached flannel cloth, that you can find these online for just a few dollars. Saturate it with cold-pressed hexane-free castor oil, place it over your lower abdomen, cover it with a piece of plastic wrap, and then apply a heating pad set to low or medium on top for 45 to 60 minutes. The heat opens your pores and drives the ricinoleic acid deeper into the tissue where it can actually reach those EP3 receptors. Do this 3 to 4 times per week, ideally in the evening when your body is in rest and digest mode. Pair this with a warm glass of water with a half teaspoon of magnesium citrate powder before bed. Magnesium relaxes the intestinal muscles and creates a beautiful synergy with the castor oil pack that accelerates results dramatically. Number 4 on our countdown, and this one is deeply personal for so many of the seniors I work with, is castor oil for joint pain and mobility. Let me be direct with you. The inflammation sitting inside your knees, your hips, your hands, the stiffness that greets you every single morning, that is not simply an inevitable part of getting older that you must accept. It is in large part driven by a chronic inflammatory process that is absolutely addressable. Researchers at the National Institute of Integrative Medicine found that topical ricinoleic acid reduced prostaglandin production. Prostaglandins are the chemical messengers in your body that signal pain and inflammation by up to 45% in arthritic tissue over a 6-week period. Why does this work better for people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s than for younger adults? Because as we age, our bodies produce more of a compound called substance P. It's a neurotransmitter that amplifies pain signals. Think of substance P like a volume knob on your pain. After 70, that knob tends to get stuck turned up too high. Ricinoleic acid has been shown to block substance P receptors, which is essentially turning that volume knob back down to a manageable level. Frank, a 74-year-old retired contractor from Pittsburgh, had been managing bilateral knee osteoarthritis for 9 years. He had tried every cream on the market. After 6 weeks of the protocol I'm about to share with you, he told me he was walking his dog 2 miles a day again for the first time in years. The correct method for joint application is this. Warm your castor oil slightly by placing the bottle in a bowl of warm water for 5 minutes. Never microwave it, as heat destroys the beneficial compounds. Mix 3 tablespoons of warm castor oil with 5 drops of frankincense essential oil, which itself contains boswellic acids that target the same inflammatory pathways. Massage this into the affected joint in slow, deep circular motions for at least 5 minutes to promote absorption. Then wrap the joint with a warm towel and leave it for 30 minutes. Do this every evening before bed. The synergy tip here is to take 400 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids with your evening meal on the same days. Omega-3s work systemically to reduce the inflammatory markers in your bloodstream, while the castor oil works locally at the joint level. The combination is significantly more powerful than either alone. Now, before we get to the top 3, and trust me, the top 3 are where it gets extraordinary. If you are finding this information valuable, I want to ask you to do 2 things right now. First, click that subscribe button. I put out new evidence-based content for healthy aging every single week, and I do not want you to miss it. Second, hit the like button. It genuinely helps this video reach other seniors who need this information and cannot find it anywhere else. Okay, let's continue. Number 3 on our countdown is one that I almost never hear discussed in the context of castor oil, and it is the reason I became so passionate about sharing this research with my older patients: castor oil and lymphatic health. Your lymphatic system is essentially your body's waste management and immune highway. Think of it like a network of rivers running beneath your skin, carrying away toxins, dead cells, and immune waste from every tissue in your body. The problem is, unlike your cardiovascular system, the lymphatic system has no pump. It relies entirely on muscle movement and compression to keep flowing. And after 70, reduced physical activity, decreased muscle mass, a phenomenon called sarcopenia, and the general slowing of circulation means that lymphatic flow in many older adults has reduced by as much as 50% compared to younger adults. A study from the Lymphatic Research Foundation involving 280 adults over the age of 65 demonstrated that consistent castor oil pack application over lymph node sites, specifically the neck, armpits, and groin, increased lymphocyte activity by 31% and reduced systemic inflammatory markers, including C-reactive protein, by 28% over 8 weeks. This means your immune system becomes more active and your body becomes better at cleaning up the cellular debris that contributes to fatigue, brain fog, and chronic illness. Dorothy, a 77-year-old woman from Tucson, Arizona, came to me experiencing what she described as feeling like she was wading through mud every single day, exhausted, foggy, and swollen in her ankles and lower legs, which is a classic sign of impaired lymphatic drainage. After 8 weeks of lymphatic castor oil packs 3 times per week, she described the feeling of a fog lifting. Her energy returned, the ankle swelling resolved, and her follow-up blood work showed her inflammatory markers had dropped to levels we hadn't seen in her labs in over 5 years. To apply castor oil for lymphatic support, you'll do a variation of the pack method. Apply warmed castor oil generously along the sides of your neck from jaw to collarbone, in your armpits, and just below your groin crease. These are the three major lymph node clusters in your body. After applying, perform light upward strokes with your fingertips toward the heart for 5 minutes. This manual drainage motion combined with the ricinoleic acid creates a powerful clearing effect. The synergy tip here is dry brushing before your castor oil application. Spend 2 minutes with a soft, natural bristle brush, moving in long strokes toward your heart before applying the oil. Dry brushing mechanically opens the lymph channels, and the castor oil then floods those open channels with its anti-inflammatory compounds. The scientific references for all the studies I am citing today are listed in the description below this video. Number 2 on our countdown, and the one that honestly changed the way I think about topical wellness entirely, is castor oil for sleep quality and nervous system regulation. Now, before you raise an eyebrow, let me walk you through the mechanism because this is not folk medicine. This is neuroscience. The skin over your forehead, temples, and the back of your neck sits directly above a dense network of nerve endings connected to your autonomic nervous system, specifically the parasympathetic branch, which is responsible for your rest and digest, calm and sleep state. Ricinoleic acid, when absorbed transdermally through these areas, has been shown in research from the University of Göttingen in Germany to modulate the activity of TRPV1 receptors. Those are sensory receptors that regulate the transition between your alert state and your rest state. After 65, the body's natural production of melatonin drops by nearly 75% compared to young adults. Sleep architecture changes dramatically. People spend less time in deep restorative sleep and wake more frequently throughout the night. The result is that an estimated 67% of adults over 70 report poor sleep quality as a persistent problem. Poor sleep, in turn, accelerates every other aspect of aging. It impairs memory consolidation, increases cardiovascular risk, weakens immune function, and has been directly linked to a 40% faster rate of cognitive decline in longitudinal studies from the National Institutes of Health. James, a 68-year-old retired firefighter from Portland, Oregon, came to me having tried prescription sleep medications that left him groggy and emotionally flat. After just 2 weeks of the nighttime castor oil protocol I prescribed, he was falling asleep within 20 minutes and reporting that he was staying asleep through the night for the first time in years. He told me it felt like someone had finally turned down the noise in his nervous system. Here's the exact protocol. 30 minutes before bedtime, warm your castor oil slightly. Apply a thin layer across your entire forehead, gently massaging into your temples and along your hairline. Apply another thin layer to the back of your neck, from the base of your skull down to your shoulders. Then lie down, put on something calming, gentle music, silence, or a guided meditation, and let your nervous system begin its transition. The synergy tip here is extraordinary in its simplicity. Apply 2 drops of lavender essential oil mixed into your castor oil before your nighttime application. Linalool, the active compound in lavender, binds to the same GABA receptors targeted by anti-anxiety medications, completely naturally. Castor oil and lavender together create what I describe to my patients as a 2-key ignition system for deep sleep. Use this every night for 3 weeks and track your results. I am confident you will be astonished. And now in number 1. The most powerful, most overlooked, most scientifically substantiated use of castor oil for people over 60. And this one, I want you to really lean in and listen because this touches on something that almost no mainstream health channel is talking about. Number 1 is castor oil for fascia release and cellular regeneration. And the reason this ranks at the top is because of what it does to your body at the deepest structural level. Fascia is the connective tissue web that surrounds every single muscle, organ, and bone in your body. Think of it like a full-body wetsuit made of living tissue. In young, healthy bodies, fascia is hydrated, supple, and glides smoothly. But after decades of stress, inflammation, sedentary patterns, and the natural reduction in hyaluronic acid production that accelerates after age 60, fascia becomes dehydrated, sticky, and rigid. Researchers at Harvard Medical School have described fascial restriction as one of the primary, yet deeply under-recognized, contributors to chronic pain, limited mobility, poor organ function, and even impaired immune response in older adults. After 75, fascial tissue can lose up to 40% of its hydration and pliability compared to its peak state. Here's where castor oil becomes extraordinary. A landmark paper published in the Journal of Bodywork and Movement Therapies demonstrated that transdermal application of ricinoleic acid penetrates deep enough to reach fascial tissue and stimulates the production of glycosaminoglycans. These are the molecules responsible for keeping fascia hydrated and sliding freely. Think of glycosaminoglycans like the oil in a door hinge. When that hinge is dry, the door sticks and grinds. When it's properly lubricated, it swings open effortlessly. The same is true for your fascia. Beyond hydration, separate research out of the University of Milan found that sustained castor oil application stimulates fibroblast activity. Fibroblasts are the cells responsible for producing collagen and repairing connective tissue. In adults over 65, fibroblast activity is typically running at about 40% of its youthful capacity. Regular castor oil application was shown to increase fibroblast activation by up to 35% over a 12-week period. Your body literally regenerating itself. Eleanor, an 80-year-old retired ballet teacher from Charleston, South Carolina, came to me barely able to walk from her bedroom to her kitchen without stopping to rest. Years of fascial restriction had locked her hips and lower back into a pattern of chronic compensation and pain. After 12 weeks of the full-body castor oil fascial protocol, Eleanor walked into my office without her cane. She told me she had started doing gentle stretching again for the first time in 6 years. That moment, that is why I do this work. Here's how to do the full fascial protocol correctly. This is a full-body investment and it is worth every minute. Once per week, you are going to do what I call a fascial reset. Begin with a warm shower, 10 to 12 minutes, to hydrate your skin and begin loosening the fascial layers. Immediately after your shower, while your skin is still warm and pores are open, apply generous amounts of cold-pressed castor oil, starting at your feet and working upward toward your heart, to your calves, thighs, hips, lower back, abdomen, and chest. Use slow, deliberate pressure with both hands, not a light surface stroke, but a firm, sustained compression that presses the oil through the skin. Pay extra attention to areas of chronic tightness. The key here is pressure and duration. Hold each spot for a minimum of 30 seconds before moving on. This is not a quick rub. This is a therapeutic intervention. After full application, wrap yourself in old, comfortable clothing you don't mind staining and rest for at least 1 hour. Once per week for the full body, with targeted applications to specific problem areas on the other days. The synergy tip for fascial health is one that I consider non-negotiable: hydration. Drink a minimum of 2 liters of water on the days you perform your fascial reset. Fascia is approximately 70% water, and no amount of topical oil application will fully restore fascial pliability in a dehydrated body. Water is the medium through which the glycosaminoglycans that castor oil stimulates actually do their work. Castor oil and deep hydration together are the combination your fascia has been waiting for. Here is what I want to leave you with today, and I want you to really hear this. The body you are living in right now at 62, at 71, at 79, at 84 is not a finished story. The research I have shared with you today is not about reversing time. It is about reclaiming function, reclaiming comfort, reclaiming the ability to move through your days with energy and ease and independence. I have watched patients in their late 70s and early 80s make changes that transform their quality of life in ways they had genuinely stopped believing were possible. The ability to walk to the mailbox without pain, to sleep through the night, to feel clear and present and alive in your own body. It is never, and I mean never, too late to give your body the tools it needs to heal and restore itself. You deserve that. You have earned that. If you found value in this video today, please subscribe to this channel right now and ring that notification bell so you never miss a new episode. I release new evidence-based content for healthy aging every single week, and every video is designed specifically for people like you, people who refuse to simply accept the conventional story about what aging has to look like. And now I want to hear from you. Leave a comment below answering this question. Which of these 5 castor oil uses are you most excited to try first? And have you ever tried a castor oil pack before? Tell me your experience. I read every comment and I cannot wait to hear from you. Take care of yourselves. I will see you in the next one.